Hi everyone, this is Rod Arthur from Land Creation. I'd like to thank you all for attending today. Um, we're talking about one of the hottest topics that I have been discussing with many of our managed service clients over the last few months. And it's certainly a lot of media out there. There's a lot of hype from salespeople, and we're going to try and sift through some of this. I guess some of the hype and some of the uh, demystify what's actually this AI engine all about. Why did Microsoft spend $10 billion rumored to actually invest in this technology a year ago, and where they are now and where they're going? And Robert's going to go through some of the different flavors, if you like, of what Microsoft and Copilot is. Robert Crane is like someone I've had contact with for the last 15 odd years. If you don't know who he is, just Google or Bing him in your browser. Everyone knows how to do that. And hopefully after the next 30 minutes, you'll also know how to co-pilot him with AI. I don't know what will happen when you do that. That'll be interesting. Uh, but he's definitely not somebody who's just a normal sales guy that tries to get in front of you from Microsoft. He's hands-on, practical. He's been there as a business owner of a MSP, same as me. Similar clients base to you guys all out there at the moment. So he certainly knows the small business market, and he won't be giving you a death by PowerPoint presentation today. There won't be a lot of sales slides, stats and figures. That's not what we're here today about. I just Robert's been a an MVP with Microsoft for at least since 2012, I think. So that's regarded as a most valuable professional, and that's a thing. And they call it MVP, and he's a distinguished uh, lecturer and trainer in our industry, and he's been a mentor and one of our leading technology evangelists to actually help us develop our best practices and keep up with abreast of all the technology changes. And that flows down to you guys. So indirectly, Robert's been involved in my business for at least 15 years, and a lot of his policies, processes, procedures, and that actually coming down through to you guys and helping you today. I'd just like to let you hand over to Robert. He's going to take over and be a lot more professional than me, and he's going to share his screen, and I'll hand it over to you, Rob. Thanks, mate.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Rod. So we'll just get confirmation that everybody can see my screen. So a thumbs up in the chat or whatever, or a nod. So again, thank you very much, Rod, for the introduction. It's always a pleasure to present to you and your customers there. The aim of today's presentation is to shed some light on the Microsoft AI conversation. There's a lot of, going out there around ChatGPT, things like Bard, things like Gemini from Google. But the important thing here is that Microsoft has a product called Copilot that will work as a consumer with basically for free, but also more importantly, will give you the capability to run AI across your own business information in a secure manner. So we hope that we can give you an idea, give you an outline of some of that today. Now, the starting point for any journey into using Microsoft AI is to go to copilot.microsoft.com. So that's what I've navigated here for you to basically go and have a look at. So copilot.microsoft.com. And like any of the standard Copilots or so other AIs you've used out there, you'll see that down the bottom here we have a prompt or an area that we can type phrases in there. And again, the idea is that all we need to do is go in and type a phrase, type a question, and off Copilot will go, and it will then give us a response there. So in this case, I've asked it to quiz me, to give me some information around some Japanese quizzes here. So the idea is that, you can use it for, doing personal things. You can do it for travel itineraries. You can do it for cooking. And we see over here on the side, we have these capabilities built in natively here, right? So we can drill down and focus on just images. We can, drill down and focus on just vacation planning if we want. And that just makes it a bit easy for the AI to kind of know what we're doing. So if we go into the picture, let's go in and ask it this question. So we want to create a image of a Japanese shrine, but we want to do it as a cartoon. So the idea here is, I need to agree to the terms and conditions here. And you'll see that when I try and go to an image here, the system doesn't know me, and at this stage, it's not going to provide that to me. What I need to do is go in and create an account. Now, the idea behind creating an account is that it's going to give you additional functionality around privacy and also data protection. Okay, so it's important, I would suggest to you, that you want to protect the information, the interactions that you have with the AI, and the best approach is going to be to go in and log into that. So if I swap across to an environment here that I have logged in, so same URL, copilot.microsoft.com, you'll notice that in the top corner here, I've actually gone in and logged in with a commercial account. So I've logged in with a Microsoft 365 account, which is probably what you're using already to log in to your emails, to your SharePoint, to your OneDrive, and so on. Now, when I do log in with a commercial account here, you'll see that I get a little green pill or icon indicating that all my interactions with this are now protected. So what that means is that the data that I put in here, whether it's queries, whether it's files, whether it's images, that will not be shared with anybody else publicly. And it will also, importantly, not be used to train the AI. So it won't be used in any public manner. But importantly, you have to log in to copilot.microsoft.com with typically a commercial account to get that capability. But once I've done that, once again, I can simply go in here and ask it any sort of question and get a result. Now you'll see here that I'm going to ask it about the top 10 electric cars in Australia. You'll see that it goes out, pulls that information from various sources. Typically, it's going to be pulling that directly from the internet. When it does that, you'll see that I get links or I get references down the bottom here. So this is where it's actually getting that information. So I do want to go in and make sure that that information is correct, it's valid, it is from the right sources. I can go in and validate that. Now, it's important to remember that AI, like searching, like any sort of technology, is not perfect, okay? Yes, it's very, very good most of the time, but you still need to provide some common sense over the top of it just to be careful. So again, all I need to do is go in, ask it a question here. In this case, I'm going to ask it for the average temperature in Sydney across a range of months. And it does a pretty good job of giving me all that information. So a really good starting point to get the benefit of AI is to go and ask it questions. And you do this by using what's called a prompt, simply typing into the prompt box below. Now, one of the things that the AI really will exceed at is summarizing information. So taking a huge volume of very verbose, very dense information and summarizing it down. So what I've got here as an example for that is a prompt for the AI Copilot to go out and basically summarize the Privacy Act here. So you'll see here that off it will go and it will look up the Privacy Act. Now, down the bottom here, you'll notice that it has some suggested queries, some suggested comments, which I can then drill into further. Now, I can continue, obviously, to type those in, but I can just as easily click on this and it's going to create that prompt for me. And you'll see here that it's going to give me a very nice summary of what the Privacy Act is all about, rather than me having to go through reams and reams of information there. So one of the big benefits that you can utilize it for in a business is to summarize things like tax tables, legislation, big PDFs, all of that. It works really, really well at doing. The important thing is to obviously you ask it better questions, you get better results. So the idea here is to think about, we'll go into this a little bit more detail later on, is that you can use natural language. You don't have to approach it generally in the fact of most people use search, they ask at the minimum, tax tables, hit enter, and off it goes. You get a lot better results if you treat it like a human being and you ask it in a natural language manner. All right. So you'll see down the bottom here, we've also got the ability to interact with it with audio. So we can ask it questions using a microphone. Now, I would encourage you to think about putting the AI on your mobile phone, on the device, and implementing it there as well. It's very handy to have that on the run to be able to ask questions on the mobile device and for it to be able to provide that to you directly. So some other items in the interface here, you'll see that I also get a notebook here. So this allows me to keep track of questions, queries, notes that I may want to access. I can refer back to at any stage. You'll see that I can put in prompts and all that sort of stuff in there as well. So I've got that capability. And that comes again because I have logged in to copilot.microsoft.com. And importantly, you don't need to pay any money for this. There is no cost to doing that. But logging in using your commercial account will give you this data protection, this green pill up the top here to protect any of the interactions that you have with the service here. Over in the right-hand side, you'll see that I do have the options to control the settings. I can control the appearance, the darkness, system, the privacy, and I can also look at feedback. So there is that in there. So again, if I expand the settings, you'll see you can choose the language. So at the moment it's set to US because it's a demo environment. You might want to change that basically to Australia to get the right language and for it to better understand your questions there. So all of those capabilities are available for you. All right. So the idea here is that we can use copilot.microsoft.com and we can use it without having to pay anything. And if we want the data protection, we need to basically go in and log in the top corner here, and we then get those capabilities. Now, a brief slide here to give you some idea of what sort of products are available and their costs. So the raw Copilot, the free Copilot where you don't log into it, again, that's totally free and you will get the ability to access the web to ask it AI questions. If you do log into that, you will get that commercial data protection as noted there, but you do need to log in to that with an account. Now, Microsoft has made available a pro version of the individual Copilot that is currently $33 per user per month. So if you do want more advanced features, if you want priority access to AI models and engines and updates and the latest features, you can pay extra to get this professional version. And you do note here that it will give you access to Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. Now, the important thing to call out here is that that access is only in the consumer versions of Outlook, Word, and Excel. It's not in the commercial versions we'll talk about shortly. So all of the stuff on the left-hand side here is basically largely targeted at individuals. There is the free version, and of course there is the professional version, but again aimed at the individuals there. So you can start using that today, copilot.microsoft.com, no cost for you to start using that. And again, you will get the benefits of using that as with any AI. And then, like I said, using the login in the top right-hand corner, you'll get that commercial data protection as well. All right. So if we now move over to looking at the commercial version of Microsoft 365, so hopefully this is a bit familiar to people. This is your business, this is your area in which you would normally be working, OneDrive, SharePoint, and so on. You'll see that because I have a commercial license in here, you'll see that Copilot, the commercial version, appears here as an option. So if I select that, you'll see that I get a very similar style chat interface, a little bit different, but same sort of concept. So what I can do here is, for example, is I can go in and ask it a prompt, but in this case, what I can prompt it with is I can actually say, go and give me a summary of a document that I have in my environment. So the document here called Terms of Engagement, I actually have that stored in my OneDrive for Business. I'm asking Copilot to go and find that. You'll notice I haven't told it where it is. It's gone out and it's found that document, and it's going to give me a summary of that document. Now, the document is secure. It's in my OneDrive. It's not going to be available anywhere else. The information is not being shared with the public or being shared outside my organization, but I now am getting access to this. Now you'll notice here that I have a little icon with a shield and a little lock, if you can see it. What this indicates is this document is protected using some of the capabilities that are available in Microsoft 365. So this is providing permissions on that document, which means that if that document was sent to somebody outside my organization, it's encrypted, it's protected, they couldn't read it. But inside my organization, I can work with it, I can read the document and utilize it in my AI, but again, it is protected. So if I as a user didn't have access to that document, I wouldn't even see it, I wouldn't be able to access it, right? So again, the idea here is that all of that is available to me. And the benefit of the commercial version of Microsoft 365 Copilot is that it can reason across both the internet data and also your own corporate data and do that securely. Now you'll notice down in the bottom corner here that I also have this little plugins option. If I select that, I now pop up this option for a plugin that says, okay, at the moment, I'm just querying my company data securely, but do I also want to include content and query and use the AI across whatever's found on the internet? So now I've started with just my own corporate data, nice and secure, and I can add in my searches, my information, anything found on the internet to benefit. So a commercial version of Copilot gives you the benefit of AI across your own data plus AI across the web, as do all the free versions of any AI that is basically out there as well. All right, so all of those capabilities are available to you. Now, I'm going to show you here a good example of some of the benefits. So if I look at my OneDrive for Business, you'll see here that I have a document, a PDF about the Contoso Thunderbolt e-bike. Okay, so again, it's got a whole lot of information here that I've created around marketing. Now, what I can do, because that document is in my environment, is I can basically go in here and say, create a dozen social media posts based on, what I want to do is based on that file. So if I hit the slash button will basically give me a lookup to information in my environment here, right? So I could go in and say, give me a lookup across the product specs here. So it's going to look at a document, and you'll see if this runs successfully, give it a moment to think, it's going to give me 10 social media posts that I can now copy and paste, and I can basically upload and use in social media. So you'll see here, I'm able to take information I have already created, and then I can use the AI to look at that information securely protected and give me additional capabilities to do things like social media posting quickly and easily. I can also go in and summarize documents. I can also go in and work with my emails. So anything that you do in Microsoft 365 with the power of the commercial version of Copilot, you can now start using AI across that information. So as an example here, let me just open another tab here, and I'm going to open a generic Word document. So this is a Word document that is, inside my environment. All right, doesn't like that for some reason. So let me double check that I have the correct, I have the correct. So why don't I just do it this way? So what I'm going to do is go back to my home here. And what I'm going to do is just open a Word document I have here. So I'll open it on the web. All right, so what I'll do is I will get rid of all that. So you'll see here that I am in Word. I'm in Word here on the web, works on the desktop as well. you'll notice that I get a little flashing icon here with Copilot. So if I select that, I can now draft a document using Copilot. So I can go in here and say, create a quiz about using Word on the desktop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is push the generate button, and what you will see is it will now go out and generate that quiz. So it's generating all that, hands off the keyboard here, and it's utilizing information that it knows from my organization. Once again, it's able to reason across the data that it has access to in my environment, and it's able to create a quiz. Now, if you do things like creating documents, PDFs, HR, marketing, this is a huge time saver. It's going to allow you to go in and create content and then utilize that without having to spend hours and hours and hours. Now, where I find it really handy is, again, creating this first draft so that I can go in and tidy it up, edit it, and so on. Now, you'll see that I had that Copilot embedded in Word, but you'll also notice that I get a Copilot button here in the applications once I have the commercial version. So what I can do is click that button, and now that's going to sit next to me and operate side by side here, okay? So the idea is I can now go in and I can now push a button or type in a text here, and it's going to go in and give me a summary of that document. So importantly, the thing here is to remember is that we have a free version, which allow you to do AI like any other free AI that is out there. We can combine that and access that securely and share information securely with that by logging in with our commercial Microsoft 365 login. And we can do that today. There's no cost. So I assume that everybody here has a Microsoft 365 log into their business. You can use that to log into copilot.microsoft.com to get that data protection and that little pill as noted up there in the top right hand corner, which means anything that I share with this is then protected. So everybody has access today who has a Microsoft 365 account. Now, if you wish to take it to the next step and you wish to use the AI across your own information, your own data, your own emails, your own conversations, then you can purchase a commercial version, and that will give you the same data protection that you see here with the consumer version, but it also adds on the capability for you to reason across, to look across your own data and create documents, work in Excel, work in OneDrive, work in emails, and so on. So you've got all of those capabilities as well. So that is a commercial add-on to basically achieve that. So really, that's kind of what I wanted to show you, but let me just show you something here as a bit of a feeder here. So I've got a photo that I've dragged in, and I might go in here and tell me where this photo was taken, for example, and it will do its best to go and reason across that and give me a result. So you can really use the power of AI to not only just work on documents, but you can also use it to work across images and all sorts of things. So strangely enough, this is the exact right answer. So that is the correct temple that I went and visited a number of years ago. And you'll see here the value of the information that's given me. I can go in and ask more questions about this. All right. So the starting point after today's session, if you are interested, is to go and visit copilot.microsoft.com. Log in with your Microsoft 365 account as you would to view your emails or work on your OneDrive. That will give you this protection. You should see a little green pill in the corner, and then you can use the AI to help you solve any sort of problem that you need, and you will be assured in the knowledge that all of that information is not shared publicly or is not used in other locations. Now, if you want to then go further, you can look at talking to Land Creation about a commercial version of Copilot, which you can add into your environment, which is going to give you the AI across your own organization and as well across the web. So I can go in here and I can say, generate ideas, and it will use my own data to do that. You'll also notice that I get the ability to ask it about suggested prompts. So the AI is going to help me write better questions, better queries, and get better results here. So all of that is available to you as well once you go down the commercial route. Now, quickly speaking about using prompting in the new AI environment, as you can see, there's a little bit of structure that does help. I mean, you can certainly use very simple things, but the best practice is to think about using it in a manner where you give it a goal, you give it the context, you tell it the source to look from and the expectations. Now, that expectation may be is all right, translate this document or summarize this document, but tell it to me as though I was 5 years old. Make it as simple as possible for me. So again, the idea here is to think that there is a slight change or different approach when it comes to using AI versus using maybe what you're doing with searching, right? So searching is really, most people ask the absolute minimum to find the result they want. AI is more about a conversation, a human style conversation to really get the most out of it. So we'll make sure that these slides here are available after the fact, but the best way to really go in and start getting a feel for this is to start playing with it. And as mentioned, your starting point is to go into copilot.microsoft.com, start using the free capabilities simply by prompting it and asking it questions down the bottom here. And then if you want that commercial data protection, you can also go in and, as I said, log into it, and that is going to ensure your data is protected. Then if you would like that to also reason across your own internal data as well to give you better results, you can certainly go in and add a commercial version of Copilot to your environment, and that is something you would need to speak to Rod and the crew at Land Creation about. But hopefully that has given you some basic information to get you started. Copilot.microsoft.com, log into it with your Microsoft 365 account, get your interactions protected, and start using that to improve your business and understand what AI can do for you. All right, Rod. Well, I think that probably covers off the basics. Is there anything that I've missed, or are there any questions from people out there that you would like me to answer?
Yeah, thanks for that, Robert. Just open up a normal browser edge and just show them that they can actually get to Copilot without actually going to copilot.microsoft.com.
All right, so this one up here you're talking about, go into
Yep.
that
So
page
you're
up the
clicking
top there.
onto that Copilot. I'm not sure if people understood, but you don't need to necessarily go to copilot.microsoft.com, even though it gives you a much richer experience when you're doing some chatting and document creation. But you can do some pretty quick searches in here rather than just going straight into your Microsoft Bing or Google to look for some content. And if you open up certain pages on the left-hand side while you're searching or reading a document, you can actually use this to summarize that information on the left-hand side.
All right, but are there any other questions in the queue while we're working this one out?
There's nothing coming up, guys. If you want to post anything in the Q&A session, now's the time. We will stop recording shortly. I just wanted to, I'll just go to this next slide. That'll just give you a link to a very quick 1-minute submission on this introduction of Copilot. Obviously, we're just scraping the surface of it at the moment. If you guys can go to that link that's popping up, I think Michael's popping it into chat as well. It will just give you a quick survey. If you guys want us to circle back with more Q&A questions or details for your business, just put your name details there and I'll come back to you personally. But I just wanted to touch base with you guys about some of the questions I'm getting on a daily basis about the difference between Microsoft Copilot and then what's called Copilot for Microsoft 365. They're actually two different products, as Robert explained. The Microsoft Copilot is the free version or the consumer version everybody can use today. And you can become protected if you've got that business account logged in with that green tick that Robert showed you. The Copilot for Microsoft 365, that's the commercial version. And unfortunately today, it's only available as a commercial pricing point. It's so for our charity and non-profit clients, it's not available at a discounted price. It's the same price as the commercial. So there's a subscription price, and there's also obviously the setting up in the back end. And I think Robert could definitely dive in deeper in a later session of what we are worried about with just enabling Copilot in general environment for our clients, in that it can surface content that may have not has been forgotten about or shared out, and potentially will come through to Copilot. If that person has access, they'll be able to bring it to the surface, even if it was an old link or a shared link that they'd forgotten that they'd even that they had done that previously, even months ago, and they may have shared a folder rather than a file, and then they put, say, for example, your payroll, HR documents or whatever into that folder at a later point time, and forgot that they shared out that link for the folder itself to a couple of staff members, just because it had a simple document that they were trying to share with them at that point of time. Copilot could bring in that information of whatever else is in that folder, for example, and that's the type of security awareness that we need to bring to your attention and try and address a better framework to help.
So let me show you that summarised quickly, Rod. So I think
Yep.
I think this is what you were talking about. So I've got our friend the privacy legislation running, and
Yes.
again, the page is up. You'll push the Copilot button there,
Yes.
and it will load in the side. Okay, and then what I need to do is basically type in summarise this page and the prompt, and then it's going to go off and it's going to use the page that is currently open as the context to go off and do that. So you'll see here, off it goes, summarising the page. So that's kind of how you do it.
That's exactly right.
There's no button that does it. You just have to type it in the prompt there. So that's how you go about it.
So one way I've seen people use this on a free version, guys, out there for my clients who doesn't quite not quite ready to do the commercial version, is they can open up their documents, their PDFs and things like that in this sort of a view, and then go summarize that particular view and page, and it reads that content and will bring up a Copilot under the chat where you can then copy and paste that into a separate Word document, and there's your beginning to your next email or a summary for your next presentation or something like that. So some of the commercial stuff that you have to pay for, it's a lot easier, obviously, within the licensed version if you're in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, because the features are there inside those particular applications. But by being able to use Copilot for free, you can do some of this stuff a little bit more manual, but it is available to you. And that's kind of what I wanted to introduce you guys to today, mainly that I want you to encourage your own staff to learn about this button, start using it. And for those employees that are actually showing potential where they're doing it a lot and coming up with some great content, it's those sort of creative users within your own company that you can start to think, well, I could probably justify potentially paying for some subscription licensing for the commercial, because they're going to start using that on a regular basis internally in your company, and start creating documents and just becoming a little bit more creative and out of the box and a little bit more productive, because they can certainly do a lot of things more quicker if they start to use these tools. The other reason I wanted to show you that in that Copilot Edge for free is I'm starting to use that myself personally, forcing myself when I would go to normally a Bing or a Google search. I would actually go into Copilot and start doing it in there. And you can talk to it like a normal conversation to a human, saying, I want to look for this type of content, but I want it for this type of audience. It might be this type of vertical market for this particular industry. And is there any other phrases I should be looking for, or can I format it in a particular table or point form? Or I want 3 points only. What are the top 3? So rather than just Googling that, you can actually get that content summarized and in a very in a great little display where it'll have links down the bottom of where that content was being referred to from the web as well. So you can still get the Google links and the Bing links if you like to the content, but you're actually going to get a lot more out of that type of a search. And I think.
So let me quickly show you the people the PDF stuff. So again, I've opened a PDF document here. So this is a local PDF document talking about the Power Platform. So it is actually on my C drive. So if you look at the URL at the top, you see C drive. Once again, I push the Copilot button in my browser in the top right-hand corner. Once again, if I go in here and type summarize this or document or whatever, you'll see that it'll reason across. It'll know that it's going to take in context the page that is open, which is the PDF, and it will come back and give me a nice summary, as you see here. So it's telling me all about automation and IT, which is exactly what the PDF's about. And when it's finished doing that, I can copy and paste that and place it into different documents, Word, whatever, send it as an email or whatever. It is a nice way, as Rod's mentioned, to get summaries of very dense PDFs. So if you have employee manuals or contracts or something like that, it's a very good way to just open it in your browser, click the button as Rod indicated, and then type in to Copilot that you want that summarized. But importantly, remember that it is a private document. You want to make sure you've got the little protected icon here to indicate you have logged in, and any of the data locally that you use or your documents or whatever it creates won't be shared with anybody else. So hopefully that answers or demonstrates that aspect of it that Rod was talking about.
And I'm just going to go back to this slide deck, just again to let you know that there'll be a Q&A in a second. We're going to stop the recording